Shalom, everyone. This is what it looks like every week on Friday night. I'm glad you finally got to come see it. So for those of you who are with us at How the Jews Created Broadway, that melody, What Prayer, might it also sound a little bit like? Thank you, Chair of our RISE Committee. Same melody as Baruch. Someone was paying attention. We are in for quite a treat tonight, so I'm really glad that all of you are here to join us as we celebrate Shabbat and as we have the opportunity to welcome this fantastic Klezmer band to our bima, and as we celebrate our Klezmer Kabbalat Shabbat, as we prepare to also commemorate Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and all of his amazing work as a part of creating the civil rights movement. So this evening's service is inspired by a trip that many of us had an opportunity to take together last March with Etgar 36. We traveled down to Atlanta and Alabama and had a pretty unforgettable 3 days as we heard firsthand accounts of folks who lived through these experiences, who stood there as a part of Bloody Sunday, who lived through all of the things that we have heard about and learned about, hopefully, in our history and in our time, or maybe that we lived through but in another moment, and so we weren't the ones who were there experiencing it. And many of us came back inspired by what we heard and ready to learn more and do more. And it has translated into lots more opportunities for us as a community. First, it was voter registration work and education that we were engaged in this fall, since that was one of the things that we heard from the folks who we talked to, that one of the most important things that we can do as Americans is to vote. Whoever you vote for, it is our right, it is our privilege, and it is our responsibility to vote and to make sure that everyone has the means to be able to do so and to help others to get to the polls as well. And we have another program coming up that you'll hear more about later as we kick off Black History Month, actually at the beginning of February. So the education continues, the opportunities continue. Whether or not you were with us in March, you can continue to jump in and learn with us and experience all of what we are bringing to the entire community for everyone. So in order to kind of have a little bit more of a sense of what's happening up here on the bima with me, I want to invite Michael Dvorak to come on up to the bima to introduce our guests, this band, and a little bit more about what we're doing here tonight.
Welcome. Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. It's great to see so many people here, and I'm really glad it's tonight and it wasn't last night or what's going to be the weather on Sunday. So I think we're able to squeeze this in. You always worry about planning a big event, in the middle of winter, but this all worked out, luckily. It's my pleasure to welcome you tonight to what should be a very special musical service in commemoration of Dr. Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. There's so many other heroes of the Civil Rights Movement, but Monday is the federal holiday. I'd like to first thank Rabbi Roney and Cantor Benjamin for their involvement and support of this program, and to Marla Sones and the Congregational Learning Committee, Amy Wine and the Ritual and Spiritual Engagement Committee, Rabbi Cami, our Educational Director, Julie, our Executive Director, Mindy Davidoff and the whole office staff, and our custodians, Lester, George, and Rob, who do so much, often behind the scenes. I also want to welcome our musicians, Sam Heifetz, Bruce Kaminsky, Charlie Salinger, and Stan Slaughter. As you'll see when you read their bios, they're all highly accomplished musicians, and we're really excited to have them with us tonight. Sam performed at last year's MLK Shabbat and prepared most of the arrangements for this evening, working with Cantor Benjamin. Sam, along with his wife Natalie, my cousins, moved here from Riga, Latvia in 1990. Natalie's grandmother and my grandmother were sisters, and the only two siblings out of 6 that survived the Holocaust. Music runs deep in Samuel's family, and being a musician saved his father's life during the Holocaust, where he survived multiple camps. Their son, Elia, a graduate of Upper Dublin High School, is an accomplished singer-songwriter and involved with musical theater. And if there are any Emily in Paris fans out here tonight, which runs on Netflix, Elliot co-wrote the song Beautiful Ruins from the season 4 finale, which took place just last September.
That was beautiful.
Much of our country's greatest music was a result of Jews and blacks working together through their shared cultures, beliefs, and experiences. As a result of this, they changed the face of America's music and popular culture. There are a lot of connections between jazz and klezmer, and during the service, Bruce, a little bit later, will speak more about this relationship. On our civil rights trip last spring, we visited the tomb of Dr. King and his wife, Coretta, which is located directly across the street from the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. On a wall next to the memorial are several panels describing what Martin Luther King referred to as the beloved community. It was one of his main principles, and it's based on 6 principles of nonviolence. Broadly speaking, Dr. King envisioned the beloved community as a society based on justice, equal opportunity, and love of one's fellow human beings. Conflicts would be resolved peacefully, and differences reconciled through a mutual commitment to understanding, respect, and goodwill. An all-inclusive spirit of sisterhood and brotherhood would replace racism and all forms of discrimination, bigotry, and prejudice. At a speech at Cornell College in Iowa, yes, Iowa, not Ithaca, in 1962, Dr. King said the following: "I am convinced that men hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other, and they don't know each other because they don't communicate with each other, and they don't communicate with each other because they're separated from each other." Sadly, this still holds true today in our divided, polarized society. Though the civil rights movement goes back now over 70 years, its message is still so relevant. As we read at our Passover Seders each year, the fight for freedom is an ongoing process and it can never be taken for granted. We must all do our part. We must continue to welcome the stranger. There's more that unites us than divides us. And in Pirkei Avot, we learn that it's not your duty to complete the task, and neither are you free to desist from it. And I would like to conclude by reading a prayer by the late Rabbi Harold Kushner called A Prayer for the World. It's actually on page 151 in your prayer book in the far left-hand margin. And to me, it's very much a prayer that symbolizes, the yearning for a beloved community. Let the rain come and wash away the ancient grudges, the bitter hatreds held and nurtured over generations. Let the rain wash away the memory of the hurt, the neglect. Then let the sun come out and fill the sky with rainbows. Let the warmth of the sun heal us wherever we are broken. Let it burn away the fog so that we can see each other clearly. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness so that we can share the joys and feel the sorrows of our neighbors. And let the light of the sun be so strong that we will see all people as our neighbors. Let the earth, nourished by rain, bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty. And let the mountains teach our hearts to reach upward to heaven. Amen.
Thank you, Michael. We're going to dive into our service, and we'll have our band with us throughout our service. So some of the melodies might sound familiar, but like you've never heard them before. So we're going to begin on page 5 with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem. Yep. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Moachem LeShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Ni LeShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi HaMelachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidkem leShalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi HaSharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch
We continue. I know it's really hard not to clap every time, right? Maybe we could do like, yeah, some snaps, a little happy fingers. We'll continue on page 10 with Yedid Nefesh.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it.
aman mishoch avtach eretzonach yarutz avtach kemo
We turn to page 11 as we continue to move through Kabbalat Shabbat. And as we move through this beginning part of the service, it's an invitation for us to allow ourselves to kind of catch up body, mind, and spirit, since sometimes our bodies are moving in one direction and our minds in another, and we can kind of have a lot going on inside of us, and it makes it difficult to just be present to what is. And that is, I think, one of the big invitations of Shabbat, to really allow ourselves to take a nice deep breath and to just, for the time that we're together at least, to just settle into the peace of Shabbat, to allow ourselves to be surrounded by community, and to take in all of the beautiful music that you'll hear tonight. Maybe that helps you to root yourself and open up that much more than you might otherwise find yourself able to do on any given day or on any given week. But as we move through Kabbalat Shabbat, I hope that with each psalm you can allow yourself to settle in a little bit more, open up a little bit more, so that you can really experience all of the joy and all of the peace of Shabbat. Continue on page 11. Psalm 95.
Lechuneranina, 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 ladonai. Lechuneranina, 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 ladonai. Naria, naria, letzoyishenu, mekadma fana pitoda. Naria, naria, letzoyishenu, bizmirat naria lo. Lechuneranina, 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 ladonai. Lechuneranina, 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 ladonai. Lechuneranina, lechuneranina, ladonai. Lechuneranina, 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 ladonai. Naria, naria, letzoyishenu, mekadma fana betoda. Naria, naria, letzoyishenu, bizmiras naria roi. Lechoneranina, 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 ladonai. Lechoneranina, 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 ladonai.
Each week as we come together for Shabbat, it is not only an opportunity to kind of allow ourselves a moment to really truly become present, but it's also an opportunity to look back on the week that has passed so that as we enter into Shabbat, we can take with us all of the joys that we experienced, all of the lessons that we've learned, and also so that we can appreciate all the things that for which we might be feeling gratitude in this moment. And if there were moments of pain or grief in our weeks, we can also come together as a community to support each other in those as well. So as we get ready to move into our next psalm, Psalm 96 on page 14, I want to invite you all to consider what those moments might be for yourself. Maybe you're feeling moved to share something out loud with the community, and we would welcome that and invite you to do so. Or maybe you want to just sort of hold that for yourself and maybe share it with a loved one later. But it's important to take that opportunity each week to really appreciate all of the places that we've been, all of the things that we've done, everything that we've accomplished. Have pride in that and really be able to allow that to become a part of ourselves each and every week. Anyone feeling moved to share? Mayan. You finished your I'm trapped in a snow globe. If I were trapped in a snow globe. Oh, and then there was more writing. So she finished her project at school. All right, we're almost finished her project at school. High five. Nice job. Lee.
Ceasefire, release of hostages first.
Amen.
The same way that it just finally goes.
I know. I feel like I'm like walking on eggshells until it actually happens.
Yes.
But I'm sure we're all kind of feeling that. But yes, I think that even getting to this moment feels like a little bit like Dayenu, like thank God we're here. And let it be that this is the last Shabbat, that those 33 people are not home with their families, and that next Shabbat they are able to take their rightful place at their Shabbat table. Amen. Josh.
Amidst the ruin in Pacific Palisades, a man found his dog named Oreo.
Wow. If you don't know, Josh and the Gale family dog is named Oreo. Yes. It's a heart. Okay, so everyone find the heartwarming video of Oreo being found. I mean, and to find blessing among such destruction is a beautiful thing. Pierce.
I just finished my tours and studies presentations for school
What was it about?
about me.
About what? About you? You're Jewish. That makes sense. Oh, you'll have to tell me more about it. That sounds really awesome, and way to go. Nice job. Ava? And is that something that you're excited about? Okay. Nice to have special cousin time, and we're excited that means that you get to be with us. Annette?
I'd like to thank Cheryl Cohen. Cheryl and I finally got a program that we've talked about for a long time for this congregation. We're teaching Knast and Mahjong, and we had 14 people show up on Wednesday, and word got out, and 2 people already are trying to slip into the next week.
I was just going to ask if you missed the first one. I know it builds, so.
Wait until the next session, but
Okay.
thanks to Cheryl, we got it off screen.
All right. So if you missed this one, let them know that you want to do it again, and then you can catch the next round. Thank you so much for doing that, and I mean, and it's wonderful to have opportunities for folks who are available during the week, during the day, to be able to get together and be in community. All right. Well, I'm going to invite the rest of you to continue to think about the moments of joy, the moments of gratitude, all the things that you want to take with you into Shabbat. And maybe you'll even feel moved to share with someone in your world at some point throughout Shabbat. Sometimes when you say it out loud, it like makes it that much more precious and real. And maybe there's also a moment where you might feel like you want to say thank you to someone in your life. So we're going to take all of that and turn to page 14 and continue with the red arrow.
ישמחו.
ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, וטויי הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, וטויי הארץ. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלואו. 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 ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, וטויי הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, וטויי הארץ, וטויי הארץ, וטויי
continue together on page 23 with L'Chadodi as we prepare to symbolically welcome our Sabbath bride.
Misha. What?
Switch.
I didn't give anyone Michael. Now we should do it. 1, 2, 3.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu ha'am yuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'litchila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Dichi mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nisucha, zamatze b'machshava techila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Page 25.
Bo'ir v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha v'tzula toch emuneh am segula bo'ir chala bo'ir chala Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat La 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 lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat
Feel free to get up and dance anytime, but for now you may be seated. We're going to continue on page 28 at the red arrow with Tzaddik Katamar, Psalm for Shabbat.
Tzaddik Katamar Yifrach Eretz Balvanon Yizker Shatulim Baved Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuvon Beseva Deshenim Berananim Yiyu Lehayid Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Ablatapo.
Before we move into our Mariv evening service, I want to invite Bruce Kaminsky to pick a side, any side. There's mics on both sides. And come on up and share a bit with our community about, really anything you want to talk about is fine, but the relationship between the Jewish community and the black community in music might be one topic.
Shabbat shalom. Can you hear me back there? You hear me okay? How about now? Shabbat shalom, Baruch Hashem. First of all, Jews and music go back a long way. If you look in the book of Genesis, Bereshit, I'm talking to you, fellow, because you remember.
Thank you.
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Kramer, best in the business.
Thank
Brilliant scientist, one of the greatest pianists anywhere.
How much?
And he went to Overbrook High School. And he was one of the last of the Jews there. No, I mean that seriously. What? You think so? Okay. Okay. I don't like using the mic. They usually don't let me speak. In the book of Genesis, chapter 4, I think it's maybe 19, there's a guy named Yuval. Now, this is before the flood, not too far after Cain and Abel. You heard about that. And it mentions he's the first to play the harp and the flute. It's that early in Genesis, the Jews are talking about playing music. Now, I don't know if he got paid for the gig, but, it was a union thing. Now, one thing, my kids refer to me as Dr. Doom because I'll harsh anybody's buzz. One thing I want you to know about what it is we do, or what musicians do. And I know everybody says it's great, you get to do something that you love. We're involved in that ancient art of eating. I don't know if you know what that means. He does. The eating. For the most part, professional musicians were either slaves or servants. We entered through the back door. We maybe got fed in the kitchen. And when we were done, maybe paid, and then, of course, asked to leave. Mozart's mom was disowned by her family for marrying a musician because she married below her status. I bring this up for a particular reason. During the turn into the 20th century, you had what was called the Great Migration and the Great Immigration. You had African Americans coming up from the South, and you had Litvaks and Galicians coming from the Pales, from the shtetls. The thing that they had in common was oppression, poverty, and wanting to succeed. And they lived together as one. This is something that's forgotten. So in the good times and the bad times, you have to remember, when Ira Gershwin writes, "Swonderful, smarvelous," it's not "it's wonderful, it's marvelous." It's wonderful, because he was identifying with the black community, with his neighbors. Now, I want to briefly speak about two of the great musicians of the 20th century. One was a black man, and the other was an Ashkenazi Jew. One was Al Jolson, and the other was Louis Armstrong. The thing is, it was Al Jolson who was the black man, and it was Louis Armstrong who was the Ashkenazi Jew. This is going to be tough for you to get your brain around. Folks usually think of Al Jolson as the poster person for blackface, the degradation of black people, yet he was supported by Eubie Blake and the Harlem community, because he was able to, when he put on blackface, as much as for him, not in general, but for him, he was identifying with the black community, and they supported him, because he could say things on stage that no black man could say. He was able to get a white audience to cry for a black man when he sang Sonny Boy or Mammy. Now, on the other side, Louis Armstrong was partially raised, and this is a little controversial, by the Karnofsky family in New Orleans. From the age of 6 to 12, he was basically employed by a Jewish family. He worked with them in the morning and at night. They brought him, they fed him, and they'd bring him in for Shabbat dinner on Friday nights. In his own autobiography, he attributes scatting, scuba-da-ba-dee-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-doo-ba-da-ba, to trying to imitate davening. It's what he heard in shul, which he would attend. And to his dying day, he wore a Mogen David around his neck. He identified with the Jewish community. He believed in the Jewish community's work ethic, and also his manager, who was Jewish. Now, was everything smooth between the Jews and the blacks? No. One of the things was poverty. Because if you're impoverished, it's all about survival. You're coming in with nothing, and you will scratch, and you will dig, and you will do what you can to succeed. Sometimes for the better, sometimes not for the better. So sometimes there were tension. Sometimes there was a little bit of a ganef maybe in here, abyssal. But for the most part, we find out that, keep in mind, the great song by Billie Holiday, Strange Fruit, about lynching, was written by a Jewish man. That the owner of the club where Billie Holiday sang it, he demanded that she sing that, and that she end her set with that, and that everybody be silent. So the Jewish and the black community go together very well, especially for the Jewish blacks, which there were a number of, and we can't forget that. So I'll end this part of the thing by saying Jewish Americans and African Americans have been together, have been apart. We share a similar music. Baruch Hu Adonai Hamorah. It ain't necessarily so. It's the same music, it's the same heart, we're the same people. It's not them, it's us. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I got to say. Baruch Hashem. How'd I do, Dad?
Beautiful.
Thank you, Bruce. I'm going to invite you to turn to page 39 and to rise if you're comfortable and able to do so for Baruch Hu.
No, this is the silent part.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Le'Vrach Le'Olam Va'ed. Baruch
be seated.
Yom V'Layla, Yom V'Layla, Lights of Shemal, Chai V'Kayam, Tamir L'Och Le'Leila, Baruch Adonai HaMari V'Ravim.
Amen. We continue on the top of page 40.
Ahavat Olam Beit
Beit
Yisrael Amcha Avta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Akein Adonai Eloheinu B'shokveinu u'fkumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha ומצוותיך לעולם ועד. הם חיינו ויארך ימינו ויארך ימינו ובהם נגע יומם ולילה יומם ולילה. ויברכך
Continue on the top of page 41 with Shema.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשמך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue silently on page 42.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
We turn to page 44 as we get ready to move into Michamocha.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה מרים בני ישראל חדש רב שמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך רובנך בקיים לפני משה ומרים זה לא ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד נאמר כבוד אדוני יעקב וכולם יחזק ממנו ברוך את אדוני גא ישראל.
Amen. We turn to page 45 for Hashkivenu, our evening prayer for peace and protection. And I know we already mentioned this in the beginning of our service, but as we move into Hashkivenu, I want to invite us to hold in our minds and in our hearts all of the people in this world who are in need of that Sukkot Shalom, that canopy of peace to be spread over them. And in addition to the hostages who we hope will be able to find their way home soon, I want to offer a prayer before Hashkivenu, written by my friend and colleague, Rabbi Sandra Lawson, which goes out to all of those who are suffering from the LA wildfires. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach haolam, source of life and strength, who is with us in our struggles. May those who face destruction and loss find resilience and support. May the hands of firefighters and rescuers be steady and strong, bringing safety and hope in the midst of chaos. For the families forced to flee, may they find shelter and comfort. For the earth that burns, may healing rains fall swiftly. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who fills hearts with courage and communities with love, even in the darkest of times. Amen. We'll join together 3 lines from the bottom in the Hebrew or in the transliteration, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, may you spread over all of those in need your canopy of peace.
Ufros aleinu sukat, sukat, shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat, sukat, shlomecha. Baruch Adonai, habarisukat shalom aleinu v'yakol v'Yisrael v'Yerushalayim.
Amen. Turn to the top of page 46 for Vishamru.
Shamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'toratam b'rit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'toratam b'rit olam. Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'toratam b'rit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'toratam b'rit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'toratam b'rit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'toratam b'rit olam.
Continue with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikadav, Yikadav, Shemir, Rabba,
Amen.
Madi, Brakotevim, Nichmachadeh, B'cheichon, V'yamichon, V'chaydo, V'Yisrael, Ba'agala, Uvizman Kari, V'imaru, Amen. Yehi Shemir, Rabba, Mevarach, Li'alam, Li'ameh, Almaya, Yidbarach, יברך וישתבח ויתברך ושמם ינסה ויצדר ויתלהב לשמר שבריחו לילה מן כל ברכתם שירתה תושבחתם נחמתה תמירן מעלמה וימרו Amen.
We turn to page 47, and I invite you to rise if you're comfortable and able to do so for our Amidah. We move through our Amidah silently in the evening, which begins on page 47 and ends on page 52. And so I invite you to move through at your own pace in Hebrew or in English, or taking in some of the poetry on the side, or use this as a quiet moment for reflection, and we'll conclude together with a prayer for peace. Page 47.
Israel Amcha Tasim Le'olam Shalom Rav Israel Amcha Tasim Le'olam Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael Mecho'it u'mechosha Bishlomecha Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam sim leolam. Sim
Continue on page 55.
Baruch Adonai Elohim melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Elohim melech haolam asher kishanu mitzvotav v'tzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lamikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim Ivanu v'charta v'yotanu kidasha mikol amim Shabbat kodecha b'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchatanu baruch atah Adonai mikodesh haShabbat.
Amen. Hi. It looks precarious. We turn to page 56, and I invite you to rise if you're comfortable and able to do so for Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeach Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, מגורלנו כחומונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We turn to page 58 as we prepare for Mourner's Kaddish. And this week in our community, we observe the yard sites, the anniversary of the passing of Martha Adler, Phyllis Brenner, Julius Daniel, Reuben Denenberg, Henrietta Diamond, Abraham Dunoff, Esther Epstein, Sidney Friedman, Joan Friedman, Amy Goldring, Don Goldstein, Henry Goldstein, Michael Green, Samuel Halpern, Morris Hoffman, Frank Holland, Sylvia Katzer, Jacob Kiesel, Bernard Klezmer, Mala Klug, Benjamin Kravitz, Zelda Koliver, Sarah Littman, Wilma Mandel, Geraldine Markovitz, Howard Mazer, Milton Pasternak, Samuel Rissler, Marvin Rosenberg, Elaine Sattler, Joan Schenkel, Alvin Schwartz, Seymour Simon, Morris Spear, Rose Sutow, and Sam Unterberger. We also send our condolences to Michael and Ashley Fry on the passing of Michael's grandmother and Jasmine and Aurora's great-grandmother, Lenny Weitzman. And we also send our condolences to Elihu and Sarah Gorin on the passing of Elihu's brother, Neil Gorin. If you are currently in a period of reciting Kaddish, I invite you to rise, as well as those who might be observing a yard site, along with all those who might wish to rise in support of the mourners or for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, as we recite Mourner's Kaddish on page 58. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divra kirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam Olamei Omaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yithaleh V'yithalal Shmei T'Kudusha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran B'yalma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'mramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom
Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael b'imru. Amen.
May the memories of our loved ones forever be a blessing to us and to all who knew them. Amen. Before we conclude our service, I want to create some space for a few announcements. So first I want to invite Lainey Moss to come on up to the beam. I have one here also. To share about the next thing that you're going to want to put on the calendar to make sure you come back in case we don't see you between now and then.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So in the spirit of, if you like this event, this Shabbat service, you're going to love our next event inspired by our civil rights trip. It's Saturday evening, February 1st. We're going to start at 7 o'clock with Havdalah, and then we are going to watch the award-winning documentary called Ain't No Back to a Merry-Go-Round. The filmmaker, Alana Trackman, is going to join us to talk to us after we watch the movie, to lead a discussion, to answer our questions. And I think that this documentary, even though I haven't seen it yet, I'm looking forward to it, really encapsulates and is emblematic of what those of us who went on the civil rights trip experienced, and we want to share it with the rest of the community. Please tell your family, your friends. There are multiple copies of this flyer out in the lobby and all over the website. At BTBJ, we have a couple of co-sponsors, Buxmont Kehila and Or Hadash, so we'll have others joining us. A few days after this showing, it's going to be shown at the Weitzman Museum downtown, but you don't have to pay for parking here, so I think it's a great deal. And we're going to have popcorn and candy, so please come.
Thank you, Lainey. And I welcome our president, Beth Schwartzman, to share some of the other announcements from our community.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Great to see everybody here tonight, and I think it was a wonderful evening. I want to thank the band for their beautiful performance, and I also, go ahead, yeah.
Now we can clap.
Oh, we can actually clap. And I also want to make sure we acknowledge the Peggy Dvorak Music Enrichment Fund, which helped to make this happen tonight. And I promised Michael Dvorak I would remind everybody that there's an Oneg Shabbat afterwards, so please join us in the social hall for some dessert and some beverages. So great to see everybody, and we'll see you after services.
Thank you, Beth. And we will be back here tomorrow morning at 9:30 for Shabbat morning services, and Sunday morning also for Minyan at 9:30. Sunday morning is supposed to be in person, but we'll, keep an eye on the weather. Sunday is also supposed to be like Mitzvah Day in commemoration of MLK Day, and so there's going to be a lot happening in our religious school. God willing, that will all happen. If not, we'll do mitzvahs on other days because we do mitzvahs every day. So that's not a big deal, but we'll figure it out. But stay tuned for those of you who do have religious school students or who teach in the religious school. We'll let you know, as soon as we're able if anything is changing, but we'll kind of keep an eye on the situation since what the weather is today might be completely different than what it is by Sunday, so who knows. Yeah. So this has been tons of fun, and I am thrilled to have all of you with us tonight. Come back again soon. I can't promise we'll have this, but we do have Kehila Shabbat every month, so we have different musicians on our band, newly named the Motley Crue Jews.
Motley Jew Crew.
Motley Jew Crew. See, I can't even know it. Motley Jew Crew.
With all the umlauts in the right places.
So come join us for that if you like a musical Shabbat. Yeah. We are going to conclude on page 211. With Adon Olam.
Yep. Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem kol yitzir nivra li et nitzah b'chefetz kol Azai melech shemo nikra V'acharei kichlot hakol leva'ado yimloch nora והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ויהיה שני, להמשילו להחמירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית. והוא אלי בחג העלים, וצורך ליבי עת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי. מנת כוסים ביום אקרא, ויעדו אף כדרכי בעת תשן ועיירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא ירא, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, לי עת נשא בחפצו, לי עת נשא בחפצו, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, motzlech min haaretz.
Amen. One more time. Shabbat shalom, everyone.